All right, and then Saturday night, we're going to get these two new projects. Golden Valley Is Now and the Dave King Trucking Company.
Right.
With a little guest appearance by the Gang Font.
Right.
Gang Font's been around for a little while now.
Yeah, we've only played a couple of shows in town, but we've been steadily working on music.
How did that come together? There's the Gang Font.
Wow. Look at him.
Yeah.
Is he here? He's not, thank God. He just got his black belt. And he was telling me, I was saying that during our set, at the end of our song, I was going to throw a floor tom up and he was going to chop it in half. And here was our idea, because we're only doing one song. We were going to make it like a performance piece. We're going to try and get a grant for it, where we kind of cut a little bit into the floor tom so it's scored a little bit, because I don't know how good he is at slicing him in half yet. You know, I don't really know how the black belts do that yet. But the song ends, we throw the floor tom up. He cuts the floor tom in half. At the exact same time, Fratsky's dad, who's a renowned crossbow deer hunter, Fratsky's dad comes out, all the lights go up, and he points a loaded crossbow at the audience, and all the lights go off.
So that'll be Saturday night.
That's Saturday night.
Okay.
That's Saturday night.
Kind of gave it away, so it might, don't tell other people.
No, and that's Craig Taborn there, the keyboardist, a great keyboardist who's originally from Minneapolis. Reed and I and Craig grew up together here. He's been in New York for 12, 15 years, and so he's involved with, he's in Golden Valley Is Now.
And Craig's the one in the kind of greenish jacket and the jeans.
And I'm also in his group called Junk Magic, which we released a record a few years ago on the Thirsty Ear. That's with Chris Speed, who's also in the trucking band. So the nepotism, runs high with this sort of crew,
Right. We haven't even said who this guy is.
We don't need to talk about that guy in the red. I think if you're from Minnesota,
black belt.
The black belt with the mustache.
You can say.
Okay, that's Greg Norton. So he was in the band Husker Du.
Now he's a black belt.
He's a black belt and a chef.
And he plays what?
He plays bass
in the band.
Yeah.
The Gang Font.
He's
how did the Gang Font come together? I mean, what was the deal?
He came together. He's a lifelong kind of avant-garde music fan. That's really his main thing. He wasn't. I mean, he played in the seminal punk thing, but he's really, actually, I've only ever seen him listening to like old Genesis and then he listens to like Bartok string quartets and stuff. I mean, he's kind of into lots of stuff, and so he approached me at a Bad Plus show. He's a pretty big Bad Plus fan. In fact, he actually comes out on the road with us sometime. Believe it or not, he's got a little bit of free time these days, and he comes out and hangs out. He's been at different tour stops. You'll see Greg, and he actually came to Iceland with us. And it was a very funny story. If I can tell this story really quick, we were playing in Iceland, and we went to this bar afterwards, and we were sitting there with Greg and the promoter. And then the singer of, this is going to sound so lame and name-droppy, but it was funny for us because Greg is just sitting there, and the singer of the band, Sigur Rós, came over to her, and in Iceland, it's all like, they're all just, it's not a big deal or whatever.
There's only 200.
But I had just seen him on Conan O'Brien. I really liked this song they played, and he sat down next to me, we were talking about that, and he slowly looked up. And Greg is still so recognizable to anyone who is ever a Husker Du fan. And it's just this recognition of like, what is he doing here? It was like this moment, like we knew each other. He knew the band. He was at the show, and they were talking, and we were talking, and he just slowly is standing there, and Greg is just smiling because Greg knows who he is. And this moment of just like, you're the guy with the mustache from Husker Du, And Greg's like, yeah, he's like this totally incredibly friendly, bubbly personality, and it was just this great moment of this weird, I don't know, in Iceland. So anyway, Greg was a Bad Plus fan. He just came up to me and was talking to me at a show, and we started talking about maybe doing some playing. I was always a great fan of his, and it was fun for us to get to know each other and eat at his restaurant. And finally, Fratsky and I got together with him, and there was an immediate connection and an idea, where the idea is that we play this very structured, mathy kind of music next to Greg, and we don't say anything to him. Greg improvises, essentially. So with the bass being the instrument that's kind of really moving around and playing really busy, and everything else is a quite tight arrangement. That was kind of this idea we had, and it really works. And we think, I mean, some people hear that band and go, "Wow, that's what's going on." But I think it's a new idea. I think it's an interesting idea to have one person in a band that has no direct connection to what's going on other than intuitively.
So the rest of the arrangements, so you guys have
the rest of the arrangements are totally tight with no
Totally
improvising, and he's almost never addressed. So we're even rehearsing and dealing with each other. He's usually just hanging or working something out on his own. But there's never a moment where we're like, and this section is in 13, and you really need to hit this note here and stop at this. And it's like this. That's not what he is all about. So the strength of what he is all the music he's played and ingested, and how intense he is as a person and a performer. If he's left alone, if he's just left to relate to the music on his life experience, it's just profound what he comes up with. He's just so heavy, and I can't say enough about him. It's a really fun thing. He's also an incredibly sweet man, you know what I mean? He's not, I remember meeting him, I was a little bit intimidated, and he was so sweet, and he like brought a Husker Du 12-inch and signed it for me, and he's just a sweet guy.
How did you decide to bring Taborn in on this one, on this project?
You know, Craig was, you know, an old friend, of course, and he's been, you know, Eric is in his band Junk Magic too, so we talked to him about Husker Du. He was an old Husker Du fan. Of course, he was totally into it and wanted to do it.
So he's involved with the arranged parts, and
Yep.
then Greg's just...
But recently, actually, we're using the keyboardist, a local keyboardist named Brian Nichols. I don't know if anyone's heard of Brian, but I'm sure you have, and he's fantastic. So in order to play more, because Craig lives in New York, we just were really kind of strapped for, we have all this new music, we're going to do a new record. We put out a record on this label, Thirsty Ear. We played some shows in New York and here, and then we haven't been able to play much live.
Do you have any...
I don't have any of the new music with me.
Do you have any of the old music, Gang Funk? We can hear a little bit.
I really don't. I'm sorry. I tend not to try to listen to too much of my own stuff. But yeah, it's out there. You can buy it. Or listen to it on, I think he started a MySpace page where he's just like with his mustache and looking all tough like that.
All right, so that is the Gang...
That's actually a soup that he made that we're standing in front of. He's a cook. That's a gumbo.
bisque.
We're having that's a lobster bisque. You're right. His whole thing was, what if I make a lobster bisque and we have our photo with our reflections in the lobster bisque? That was the whole idea.
Looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Did you guys go swimming afterwards?
No, he will. He put Tabor and scalded him. Taborn was totally scalded his face.
Wow.